Okay, so here we are, and as you can see, we will be talking about Dandelion tonight, or at least I will. I don't know if Mr. Rain will talk. And y'all know what dandelions look like, so, but there's some pretty pictures to look at anyway.
Don't dig them up, don't mow them, eat them.
Eat them, yeah, or leave them be. All right, so here we go. I'm going to get rid of this center picture. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hi!
Oh my goodness, that's scary.
Pat and Heidi here from Rain Country Homestead.
Hey everybody. So that was pretty fun seeing Danny and Wanda and Julie and John all together and
trying to confuse everybody.
Trying to
with
confuse
the disguises.
everyone.
Yeah.
Definitely got to go back and watch the replay since there was a lot of buffering. But that's the good thing, is at least we can go back and watch the replay and then see it in its entirety. I'm excited about watching that later. So anyway, I don't know if I had any specific other than Dandelion. I do have some specific things. I do, but I was trying to figure out if there was something else I wanted to start with, or just ramble for a bit until more people are in here. And oh yes, and if some people could occasionally just give us a number, because it's really hard for us to keep track. We're sort of trying to get an idea how many people are coming in here. I know for most it's probably easier just to go back and watch it the next day or whenever it's available. I usually try to edit out the beginning or do something there because of the music, so people know, you know, it's not a whole hour of just music playing. You know, some people kind of impatient. It's like play it for 5 seconds. Oh, it's just music. Well, I guess I'll go find another video. But anyway, so 34 right now. It's probably going up because we've got I guess about a 15-second delay. So, okay, that's not too bad. I might wait just another minute before I really get started onto the topic. No, Tim Beverly, not happening. Okay, so trying to figure out if I want to. Yeah, I didn't have any other than talking about the herbs, or you know, the dandelion. I didn't have a whole lot of other stuff like we did last week, but we can continue the discussion if you want about, you know, what is a homesteader, or who knows, I may just end up going on and talking more about this stuff because I have a few other ideas.
We could be impromptu.
Yeah, I don't mind, you know, playing just playing it by ear as we go. So
I'm definitely unscripted.
Are we frozen? Somebody asked if we.
Oh, we have yellow
up
here.
We're yellow, which is so-so. We tend to go red. Okay. It did here. Are you still frozen? I guess is the question. So, of course, I don't know how long the. Oh, it says we're offline.
Oh.
Okay, there it goes. We may have to run out there and remind Justin again. Sorry, people. I know you can probably see and hear me by the time I type this, but I'm going to go ahead and say this. We're going to check and make sure Justin's not online. Okay, good, Teresa. Thank you. So, yeah, if he's out there and he's playing video games or watching a movie or something out there in his trailer, it'll make things worse here. So, hang on. That's okay. It gives us a few more minutes to sort of just chat until and allow some more people to get in here. And when he gets back, I will start in on the dandelion and why you should just let it grow. It's not probably the same thing happened here. Yeah. But you know what? I was really loving what I saw, and I'm going to go back and watch that, Wanda or Danny, whichever one. I'm assuming it's Wanda, but Danny and Wanda. So, what do we got here? 4 degrees. 4 degrees. Oh, -4. Oh, wow. Hi, Tawana and Haas and Lisa. And I'm really glad that you like your apron, Lisa. I was, when I saw those colors, I was looking at my fabrics. I was like, I think this is her. Okay, doggies. It's just Patrick. Be quiet. Oh, it's Danny. Hi, Danny. You made a pretty good John. That was a lot of fun. So, anyway, okay. Now he's back. And hopefully it'll go a little bit smoother, but just expect there to be some freezing and some this and that. It's just the nature of our show, and if it's too much for you, there's always the coming back and watching it the next day. So, and thanks, Lisa. And also the fact that I forgot this when I was watching Danny and Wanda's show, that you can, or Dirt Patch Heaven actually, sorry. You can actually back it up a few seconds and get a little bit more. There might still be problems, but anyway, before I get into the dandelions, I wanted to give a couple of channel shout outs, and I'm going to try to make a habit of doing this every week. Oh really? Okay, then Daniel, you can email me sorry, I'm just kind of drawing a blank here. raincountryhomestead@gmail.com is our email address, and you can communicate with us through that if you'd like. I tend to do better with email than YouTube messages, because I don't always remember to go in there and check them, and I don't get notifications all the time on YouTube messages. So if I'm missing messages, I apologize. I'm trying though. Anyway, I did get tagged in a couple of Christmas related videos, and this has been a tough one because we've come to a point where we don't celebrate Christmas anymore, and it's a long story, and no, it's not because of the fact that Jesus wasn't born on the 25th. Some people think that's, and it's like, no, if that was all it was,
we're not Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, it's just, it's a long story, and I'm not going to get into that. I mean, if someone wants to talk to me one-on-one about, I'll explain it, but I don't want to be a downer on everybody's holiday season, and I want you guys to have a good time. We are going to have our boys come over, and I'm going to make them a nice dinner. Almond, what was requested was almond fried chicken. Kayla really likes my almond fried chicken, so that was kind of cool. I'm like, good, I haven't made it in a while, and I've been wanting to make it. So anyway, what I'm going to do instead of doing the whole holly jolly thing, and I'm not sure about even the gingerbread house. I have an idea, but we'll see. I just thought I'd at least do some channel shout outs because I really did appreciate the tags, and I want people to know that. So the two channels I picked for today are Bandana Grandma. I don't see her in here right now. I know she's busy with family watching a Christmas movie, and so she's such a sweet lady, and she has a really great testimony. And if you haven't been to her channel yet and watched any of her videos, I suggest you go over there to Bandana Grandma's YouTube page and just check her stuff out. And you know what? She's so funny too. I mean, I don't know that I've seen her goof off too much in her videos, but in the chat, she's just hilarious. She makes me laugh. So, and then, excuse me. And then the other channel that we've really been getting into is Homesteading with Dutch, and just really enjoying his stuff and his cooking videos, cooking over with the cast iron on just over a fire. He's making some really wonderful looking stuff. The lobster, and of course it was just great too, because it's like, well, I didn't catch any fish today, so I went to the store and bought some lobster. And I'm like, yes,
that's fishing.
Yeah, that was great. So
guaranteed catch.
And I haven't seen Dutch come in here yet tonight, but hopefully he'll watch this later and know how much we're really enjoying his channel. So there's a couple of shout outs.
What I want to squeeze in there too is Boss of the Swamp. I found him this last week and really liking his stuff. And he's got, I don't know, over 50,000 subscribers, and he seems like he always tends to get in there and tries to answer a question you might have. So that's a pretty cool channel. So if y'all get a chance, go see Boss of the Swamp.
I was saying it. By the way, it's not. There was something else. It's not just about the commercialism of Christmas. It's deeper than that. Again, I'm not going to go into that. But I suggest that maybe after the holidays, if you're so willing, I know it's a tough thing when we all love Christmas so much. I suggest just really, really do some serious research of where it comes from, and that's all I ask. And then look to Scripture if you're a Christian, and just just go to God with it and see what He would have you to do. And I'll stop there on that, okay? Because I'm not going to preach about what you shouldn't do as far as the holidays go. All right, that's between you, your family, decision. And the Lord. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So there's my channel shout-outs. And then tonight, I'm not going to do this every night, but tonight I have a giveaway. So we are talking.
Me, oh me! I want one.
Oh. No, not you. You don't count. Well, oh, poor baby. You should make one of those faces you put in there. That one with the forget it. That one cracks me up every time you put it in there. So anyway, since we're talking about Dandelion, I have a bar here of my homemade, from scratch, rose dandelion calendula soap. The rose petals, the dandelion, and the calendula all came from my garden. It's all organic. And then it does have a little bit of rose essential oil in there. Or absolute, I should say. Because it's not, it's not 100% the oil, but it is 100% natural. So all natural organic soap, and that's what I'll be giving away. And so I'm going to ask you a question, and the first one to answer it correctly wins the bar of soap. All right, so the question is, who knows what dandelion means? And we will just chat, I guess, for a bit, because I know it's going to take time for people to come in. Hey, Tommy and Patty, but good to see you in here. Very cool. So we're waiting for the first answers to come in on the what does the word dandelion mean, and which is kind of important. Dandy, he is a lion. No, it's not lion weed. I know somebody out there knows it.
All right, 10 more seconds and I get the soap.
I'm asking what the somebody got it right there. IJH Levi, lion's tooth. That is correct. And it's named that because I figured Wheatree would stay out of it because I knew she would know what it means. And Arnie Hancock knew it too, but somebody beat you to it, Arnie. So lion's tooth, because the shape of the leaf. So email me, see, I guess that's IJAH Levi. Email me your mailing information or shipping information at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com, and Wheatree can drop that in there for you too. So anyway, so it's called, I know when I was a kid growing up I always thought it was called the dandelion because the way the flower looks always just kind of make me think of a lion's head. But the leaves have a distinct look to them that looks like a tooth. It kind of makes me think more of a shark tooth, but let's see. Let me show a close-up, because there are different kinds of asters that look very much like the dandelion, and all have very similar medicinal properties, but the dandelion has the highest. So here, that's not it. That's cat's ear. Sorry, wrong one. Let's see, where is the dandelion? I thought I had a picture here. I'm sorry,
right
I'm
there,
not. No, that's not it. That's just the dandelion flower. Where'd it go? Oh, maybe I'm sorry. I thought I got it in here, but I guess I didn't. So, anyway, the leaf has a much more jagged look to it. Whereas the cat's ear, which was this picture, this one picture I showed here, that's cat's ear. Now, cat's ear is very similar to the dandelion. But the leaves are more rounded and they're thicker and they're fuzzy like a cat's ear. And so, and then the cat's ear flower looks like that. Now, if you look at the flower in the center picture compared to the flower, the dandelion flowers on the side, you can see a distinct difference in the flowers. Plus the flowers on the cat's ear, they fork and they're just smaller, they're not as full, but they're also fully edible. And the cat's ear is very good for you as well. However, dandelion has much higher medicinal properties. So, but I would recommend if you're growing them, if they're both growing like out in the front of our house, we have cat's ear growing crazy out there, but no dandelion. But out in our garden, in our main garden, is where we get, yes, Dandelion. Dandelion, it's French, for which dentist, tooth, that's how you remember. So tooth of the lion is the literal translation.
Good job, Susan.
So, yeah. Anyway, and then, you know, and knowing that it's just kind of a good idea to know the difference between the cat's ear and the dandelion, because they're the two that look the most alike. And even though they're both fully edible and they're both medicinal, the dandelion has the most medicinal properties, but the cat's ear, the leaves and the root are less bitter than the leaves and the root of the dandelion. Now, speaking of bitters, anytime you have an well, I shouldn't say anytime because I don't know that for a positive fact, but I know at least most of the time when you have an edible herb that is bitter, then it's going to be good for your gut. It's going to help with digestion and any other digestive issues. Now, there was, I think it was Susan Sullivan was talking in a chat the other night. She mentioned something that she deals with. I don't know if it was acid reflux, something to do with it. I was thinking it was a digestive issue. And consider, if you haven't started yet, adding some dandelion root or dandelion leaves to your diet. And I will get into ways that you can do that. That should help with pretty much any intestinal and digestive issues that people have. And I would assume that would cover Crohn's disease. Now, I didn't have time to look into Crohn's and all these, but anyway, I'm just so glad to see Tommy in here tonight.
Yeah, how you doing, Tommy?
Yeah.
Quick note there.
Yeah, I asked him earlier.
Well, you look pretty good after 3 days there.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Watched your chat. That was pretty impressive. Yeah.
Well, and you didn't see his Facebook pictures yet. You just sent me. I cannot believe how well he's healing up.
That's incredible.
And I asked him if he learned how to play his nose trumpet yet, but he said he did, and Patty told him to knock it off. So I got a good laugh on that one. A good day today. All right.
Nice.
Okay. So anyway, there's besides the medicinal properties of the dandelion, it is such an incredibly wonderful plant. Hi, Mima. And no worries. I tend to be late all the time. God is good and kind and merciful. The doctors, yeah, awesome. You gotta let these things grow. Even if you decide you don't want to eat them, you don't want to use them medicinally, they are so good for the soil and for the bees. We need to leave them alone and stop thinking we have to eradicate something that pretty much is impossible to eradicate anyway, and just let it be. It is an incredibly useful plant in so many ways. So I've shared this before, I think in other live chats and some of my other videos, but I just let my dandelion grow in my garden. And I always use this example, and I don't remember if I ever got pictures of it. I should find them. But the first year I really started letting the dandelions grow in the garden, just letting them grow and not pulling them up, digging them up. I just let them be, and I got the biggest beet and the biggest Walla Walla onions I got were the ones right next to big gigantic dandelions. And
the dandelions grew big there too.
Yeah, yeah. They just, I mean, they were like pressed against each other. And so what you need to know about the dandelion is it's got that nice long taproot. And it not only helps break up the soil, it also will feed nutrients to all the surrounding plants. And the leaves, of course, spread out and help prevent, you know, the soil from drying out. And you know, you can always, what I do when it gets a little, I obviously I dig up my dandelion and I dehydrate the roots. In fact, I just started doing the roots this last year, and that's what we got in here. I'll get it in so you can see it. This is a dried dandelion root, and I put this in teas for the medicinal properties. Did I not get it very good? Yeah. Kind of hard to, yeah. And I found for me the best time to dig these up is in the spring, before I really start planting some of my annuals. And the roots just come right up out of my garden, and they're easy to clean off. And I just did really well with those. And of course I've got a jar of the flowers here. And then I also dehydrate the leaves, and if you've seen what to do with all those greens video, I pick the leaves and throw them in with the rest of my mixed greens, and then those throughout the year. I have jars and jars like that of mixed greens, and if you watch any of my cooking videos, you'll see me quite often take a big handful of those and throw them into my casseroles, into my gravies and sauces and whatnot. So we're getting all those good nutrients from all those wonderful greens into our food all the time. So and Penn Woodsman, the root can be quite bitter, but if you get it when it's young, when it's still young, and the taproot's only like maybe so long, about that wide, it's not near as bitter. I've actually eaten it raw and it wasn't that bad. But, you know, I've gotten used to eating weird things like that. So, but so incredibly good for you. So if you happen to have Rosemary Gladstar's book, looks like this. This is on it starts on page 124, where she goes on to the benefits. And I'm probably going to not try to read out of here. But then she also, well, you can't see that, but she also has a lot of really good recipes. And I'm just going to read off a list. I'm not going to try to go into excuse me. I'm not going to try to go into all the specifics and the technical details, because there's a lot. But let me just give you a rundown on just some of the health benefits of the dandelion. It does, partly because it's a diuretic, it's going to help with weight loss. And diuretic, it's so funny because Bandana Grandma was asking me in last week's chat for a diuretic. And my mind, if my mind is on a specific herb, it's hard for me to get off that and go to another one. And it was the dandelion. I realized it when I was doing something else, and all of a sudden it just popped. You know how that is? You're not thinking about it all, and all of a sudden, bam, it pops in your head. Oh, dandelion. It's a great diuretic. So it's an excellent for detoxing the liver, well, pretty much the whole system, but the liver in particular. It is, let's see, it helps with skin ailments and aids in digestion, like I mentioned earlier. It helps boost your immune system. Helps with hormonal problems. So ladies in particular, you know, PMS and menopause. It eliminates uric acid, supports the nervous system, and nerve disorders. So I don't see Cockeyed Homestead in here, but that would be a good one for them to consider. And they were asking about herbs to help with stuff like that. Assist kidneys by purifying the blood. And I already said liver detox. And this one I just loved when I found this out. It is high in vitamin K. You need vitamin K. Okay, a lot of us know, oh, we got to take our D3. We got to take our D3. Well, D3, you need to be taking vitamin K with it. Now, this is how I feel about taking supplements. You know, you go down to the store, you buy a D3. Now, I do take D3 on occasion. I do not make it a habit to take it all the time, because and the only reason we do that is because of where we live. We don't get a lot of sun. But I still try to focus on foods that are high in vitamin D and vitamin K. You need those together. Just like if you're taking calcium, you need to take it with magnesium. I'm sorry, sometimes I get too excited and I start stammering. So let me, I love this kind of stuff. I love talking about this stuff. So I could go on forever.
She talks so fast that she starts tripping over her
I
words.
start tripping over my words. Yeah, I kind of like a dog when they're excited and they're running sideways. Yeah, I sort of do that. And I just derailed. Oh, okay. So the reason you need to get your vitamins in a whole food source is because when God made those plants and those herbs, He made them in such a way that when we eat that plant, we're getting all the vitamins that work together in that food. So you need D3, you need your D, and you need your K together. Just like taking B vitamins separately. Well, you need to take it in its full complex form, which is how you're going to find it in foods, typically. So I'm not against taking supplements, and I do agree that you should, if you're trying to get, like say you're trying to get off big pharma and you're trying to boost something, I do agree with taking them for a period of time as you learn to adjust your diet and find those foods, specifically in their raw form if you can, and ingest those in the amounts that will help build those particular things that you need. So that gets me to, I wanted to talk a little bit about, that's really just a rough rundown on the dandelion, and I can come back to that more because it is, there's so much to it. There's so much to it. And I saw Weetree posting some good things in there about it too. Because you could go on forever just about dandelion. So, but coming back to supplements. All right, and I'll get to ways you can take dandelion. Like for vitamin C, yes, we have vitamin C supplement, but you have to be very careful about what vitamin C you're taking, because some of it is synthesized, which is not good for you if you're taking a synthesized version. So you really got to check into the supplements. Stay away from tablets, period. Always go for something in a powder form, capsules, a gel form. Stay away from tablets. Because of the process used to make tablets often kills off a lot of the good nutrients anyway. Plus they have fillers and binders and stuff that's usually not good for you. So by taking the tablet, sometimes you're doing more harm than good. But you can also make your own herbal supplements and I have videos on that, by buying the powdered herb like your moringa, or even getting your dandelion and powdering it, drying it and powdering it up and then making a supplement. For stuff like this, I prefer to take it in a tea form, which is actually what I have here. I have tea which has cinnamon and clove and lots of, red pepper, plus dandelion root and flour. So that's what's in here. Well, go get yourself some tea. It's over there on the wood stove.
I think I'm gonna lose some tea.
I'm sorry. I should have been on top of that.
You should have been nice.
I should have been getting him some tea. And let's see. Well, Arnie, I know it's vitamin K. So whenever there's numbers, that's separating that particular K out from its complex form, and that may be good and all. I just think there's a reason why things are in their complex form. And yes, Dr. Axe also has a video out on dandelion. He's got a lot of really good videos they're real easy to listen to. They're short. They're typically like 5 to 10 minutes tops, where he'll break down a lot of these different herbs and stuff. So Tommy, haha, just like my mom, get your own tea, your legs ain't broke. Aw. So here's a couple of ways that we add extra, and I'll come back to the vitamin C, how we add extra vitamin C to our diet, especially this time of the year when we need it most. Well, we get organic oranges. Obviously, we eat the oranges. I dehydrate the peels. I grind them up, and I'll put them in our teas. I put them in my jet fueled latte recipe, and I have a video of that too. But this time of year I start adding the orange peel to it, and it's good too. You get that nice little orange flavor. Plus, I like to use the powdered orange peel in my icing, or in the cinnamon rolls and stuff like that. But you could also encapsulate it yourself and take it as a supplement like that to get more vitamin C. There's a lot of ways you can get vitamin C without having to resort to buying supplements. That's virtually free. I mean, if you're already going to buy the oranges, especially organic, if you're going to use the peel, you really have to get the organic oranges. Don't go for the conventionally grown ones, especially the ones they're watering with the oil runoff, whatever that is down in California. It's bad stuff, so I don't buy any of that stuff. I only go organic oranges now. Besides, because I do want to use those peels. And then the other thing I do is more of a multi-mineral supplement. Is I take the eggshells, organic eggshells, whether it be organic good eggs that I have to buy from the store, because we don't have our chickens yet, and none of the locals have eggs for sale anymore this time of year. But I clean those up, dry them out, powder them up, and put them in a capsule for him and for me, because I'm tough this way. I just put like a little teaspoonful in some water or some leftover tea from the night before, and I just drink it down. So yes, 5 foot is short. I know I saw somebody in here, somebody else that came in as 5 foot, and I saw Simply Living. She's even shorter than me. She's 2 inches shorter than I am, because she's only 4'10". That's pretty short. So I actually broke 5 foot got to 5 foot after I graduated from high school.
Yeah, I think she would probably be more healthier if she actually ate more fast foods and things out of a box.
How dare you?
There was a question in here, Mamas.
Okay.
What's the difference between the root and the leaf, as far as the
medicinal
benefits, taste?
Okay. The leaves aren't as bitter as the root. The root really does have most of the medicinal properties. I forget what the leaves have certain ones that maybe the root doesn't have. The flowers have certain ones that maybe neither the root or the leaf have. But in general, it's all pretty much the same. You just get most of it out of the root. But even if you don't want to go for the root, when I first started just letting my dandelion grow and harvesting it, I was just using the flowers and the leaves. I didn't feel like sorry, I was laughing at
where's my wrench?
I didn't feel like messing around with the roots and that year, but now now that I've got figured out, and I can just, the best time of year to dig them up and wash them off and use them, so I use the whole plant. Now I've seen videos where people will dig up the whole entire plant, flowers, stems, leaves, roots, wash them off and dry them just like that, and then put them away. I mean, so whatever works for you. I like to do it all separately because, like I said, I put the leaves in my mixed greens. The flowers I dry, I do like I showed you in the jar, because I'll use those a lot in my soaps, in my shampoos, and just whatever I can make that's good for skin and hair, because the flowers in particular have properties that are real good topically, but also good internally too. And the other way, when you're picking them fresh, is mix them in with your salads. I always mix them in with all my other greens. I'll go out there and pick a little kale, pick some butter crunch lettuce, and then some dandelion leaves and some nasturtium leaves, and I just throw them all in there and into a salad. It makes a really good salad, and you don't notice the bitterness. And especially if you go with a younger, the younger leaves, the more tender leaves. What am I missing here? What
Yeah,
is it?
short jokes going on, Mom. You,
That's okay. I'm pretty tough when it comes to short jokes. I've heard them all my life. I remember being in kindergarten. Kindergarten, you're a shrimp anyway, right? But I was a shrimpy shrimp. And I remember being called a shrimp and crying. You know, how silly. And as I got older, I realized, you know what? I kind of like being short. I don't, you know.
See how touchy she is on the subject?
It was frustrating when I was 14 and people thought I was 9.
We use the term vertically challenged around here. I just volunteered, hey, honey, you might want to grow some legs.
But you know what? He's really short too, people. He's not that much taller than me.
I'm tall.
Do you want me to tell him how short you are?
I have a big head too, see?
He's only 5'6". He's only a half a foot taller than me, so.
That's tall.
Yeah, it's tall to me.
Than her.
Okay, let me see if there was something else.
Side note.
Yeah. Okay, and that's all I had in my notes on that. Like I said, I hate to say, I went to herbwisdom.com and I keep recommending that page, but I wasn't as impressed with the information they had on the dandelion. But Rosemary Gladstar actually had more in her book. So I find it best to go to several different places, look in the books, because you're going to find a little bit more. Hit him twice, Rain. I do have more than one skillet.
She does. And unfortunately, I'm the one that bought them for her, so what's that say about me?
But there's a lot of good videos out there, and I wish I could remember the name of the one that is really thorough. I was going to try to remember it, and I already forgot, and I'll try to write that down, and so I can tell you next week. It's a YouTube page, and I kind of got sidetracked when I was listening to some of his videos. He actually had one on ground cherries. Now, any of you who've been watching me know that I started growing ground cherries this last year, and I'm like, wow, what am I going to do with all these ground cherries? And I never thought to dehydrate them. But come to find out, ground cherries, also known as a golden berry or husk cherry, they're considered a superfood. And I was like, wow. I mean, there was so much information about that. It was way cool. So I'm excited about next year getting more ground cherries, and this time dehydrating them. But I'll still be making salsa with them and probably some more apple ground cherry butter. But anyway, cross-reference all your research when you're looking into your herbs. Don't just stick to one place, because you're going to find out more information the farther you go. Listen to this video, read this web page, look in this book, and then compare them all. You're gonna get your you're gonna get your best information doing that. So I give you Taiwanese, gonna blame it on me, I see. Man.
I thought that came from me. I was getting carpal tunnel of the forefinger the other day trying to type. I don't have any more fingerprints on that finger. Wearing that dude out.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So, anyway, that was pretty much it. There's, like I said, there's so much more in the dandelion that I could not even absorb all the information. I'm the kind of person that's like, I know this is really healthy for me. I don't remember all the reasons why, but hey, I'm going to dry it. I'm going to put it in my tea. I'm going to put it in my food. I'm going to put it in my salads. That's just what I do. So, but again, let me remind you, especially if you didn't hear the first part, it's also so beneficial to your garden, and the bees love it. So, oh, I know what else I was going to say. About the cats here.
You're going to say something else?
Sorry, poor Mr. Rain.
Oh, that's great. I can just sit here and heckle.
The cool thing about the cats here is that, yes, it is all edible. It's not as bitter, and it is medicinal. Even if it's not as medicinal, it's still very, very good for you. So it's a good wild forage kind of food. And here's what. Sorry, I got distracted. You get your dandelion flowers are going to bloom first. which is great because they bloom very early and they start drawing the bees in. About the time that your dandelions stop blooming, your cat's ear is going to go berserk. So, you know, if you run out of dandelion flowers to gather, then I'll just go out front and start gathering the cat's ear flowers, because I noticed that the cat's ear especially really likes it in the rockier soil. Excuse me. Tell us about your ground cherry chutney.
I was just writing that question down.
I don't remember. It wasn't ground cherry chutney. I made a ground cherry salsa, and here's me, and I'm going to do this again real soon with some other recipes, including my skin cream and something else. Every time I make a recipe, like a food recipe, I don't do it the same every time. So when you see me doing that stuff on camera, that's not the way I do it every time. That's just the way I'm doing it that day. Some of the basics stay the same, but you know, well, today I'm going to throw in this herb and that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I made ground cherry salsa, and I was experimenting, and I decided to do the experiment on camera. And then I made what you're thinking of was the green tomato chutney. So I had asked the question in one of my previous videos, hey, does anybody have any ideas of what I can do with some of my excess green tomatoes? I know about fried green tomatoes. I was thinking about trying a green tomato relish, but I hadn't got that far. Well, one of my subscribers put in a recipe for a green tomato chutney, and it was so good. I was like, I can tell I'm gonna like this. So I went for it, and I made it. You know, I videotaped myself making it, and boy, is it good. And it worked. It was delicious in the tartar sauce I made, because you know, tartar sauce is basically mayonnaise and relish, and then whatever other spices if you want to add it, and maybe a little vinegar. So instead of using just a regular relish, I used my homemade green tomato chutney. Oh man, so good. So we've had that a few times. So, okay. Does Mr. Rain have anything that he would like to say?
I'm speechless.
Since you know.
She's usually the talker of the bunch, so she does well at it. We actually make a pretty good couple when it comes to the husband and wife, because she's the chatty one and I'm not so much.
He can chat. Let me tell you. There's times he gets going, you can't get a word in edgewise. So, yeah. I'm just talking about herbs. I get so excited when I talk about health stuff and herbs and how to get away from big pharma and all that kind of stuff. So, hello, Mike Miller. And yeah, and so it's hard for me to stop talking when I get on that subject until he is in the chat, and then he is bad. Yeah, I agree.
I'm the one that sits in the back of the room while the instructor is going at it, you know, and when the instructor's not looking.
I'm still here, Susan. Sorry.
What?
No, it's showing I got live stream. Everything's green. Of course, this is like delayed, so.
Oh yeah, we got green across the board.
I have to keep remembering the chat is 15 seconds delayed ish. So, is everybody still receiving us? This is Major Tom to ground control. How is your son's bathroom renovation going?
Oh, somebody put me on the spot. Don't ask Mr. Rain any questions. So, Mrs. Woodward asked how Ryan's bathroom was going on, and it's coming along. Tomorrow I have to meet the carpet layers at 8:30 to 9 o'clock, and the bedrooms will be taken care of. The preparatory work for that is we got all of the hard surfaces in, repaired some of the floor, some rot, set the tub. So basically the kitchen floor and the dining room floor is finished. I have to reinstall some heaters he's got there. We got the lighting all taken care of. Painting is all finished. let's see, I have a little bit of sheetrock work to do. I got to tell on myself. I went to install replaced one of his baseboard heaters with a little wall heater that's got a fan in it. You know, it's a cadet heater. And so found a nice spot on the wall to put it. Well, there shouldn't be anything right here. Cut a hole in the wall, and lo and behold, if I would have went next door into the downstairs bathroom, I would have found that all the washer dryer hookups were down there, and so basically the vent line and drain line for, you know, the ABS vent and drain lines for the washer was right there. So I have to repatch that. So I got to re-sheetrock that, retexture it, do some heavy knockdown, and but no big deal. Hopefully by the time we get done, they'll never be able to tell the difference. So we have that to do. Let's see what else. Oh, things are coming slow. This fall, when we just got the house, he had some trees fell, and I went in and removed the stumps. Me and him worked on that, removed the stumps from the yard, and let's see, cleared the brush, of course. That's pretty much it for right now, but it's pretty much just putting it together now, and it's turning out really nice. Uh-oh.
I'm not
what am I missing now? She's the one in the back of the room starting to tease and heckle, huh?
Yeah. Good question, Gopher Grain. I know what that is, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Oh, what did he say?
Anyway, Mike Miller was asking about your backhoe starter and how that worked out.
Real well. What I did is I went online and I put in. I have a manual that shows all of the breakdown of all the parts, every nut, bolt, screw, and washer of that backhoe, and I got to look it online, and there's a lot of just like a car. There's a lot of interchangeable parts. What?
I'm just smiling, but I'm looking
what is she laughing
I'm
about,
trying to
people?
put the focus back on you.
I'm feeling a little pressured now.
No, it's not.
We're nationwide, right? At any rate, so I got to looking around, and I could get this very similar starter for $20 cheaper. So I have a video that shows that, and I went out on a limb and went ahead and got this other starter, and everything measured up correctly. The kilowatt usage, the time, I'm put on the spot now. The solenoid, anyways, the solenoid, everything was the same on that other starter. The only difference was it had a grounding post, an additional grounding post in another spot. So I went ahead and pulled that grounding post off and took a look at it, and that's all it was. It was a grounding post. There's nothing special about it, just an extra part on there. So I went ahead and installed that, and it works great. In the interim, I had the other one rebuilt, thinking, well, there's a real competent, nice, fair, reasonable guy in town that knows how. He rebuilds all electrical and in automobiles, and I had him rebuild it, and it cost a little bit, about $5 more than the new one did. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, well, it's a little more expensive, because he's done work for me in the past and has always been very fair to me. So now I have another starter sitting on the shelf, ready to go if the other one ever goes bad. It'll probably outlive me.
Backup for the backup.
The backup of the backup. Two is
wait.
one is none.
We only have one then.
Yeah, right.
I got that wrong.
So anyway, the old starter, it was falling apart. What had happened is my son, he had drove it from his house across town over to my place, and I went to start it the next day to rehang the tailgate on the back of my dump truck, and it wouldn't start, And so I went around and looked at the starter, and of course the guts were all hanging out of the solenoid. The back plate that holds the solenoid in place only had one screw holding it there, so at least I had the plate, and all the guts had fallen out of that starter. So basically, I've got a new starter sitting on the shelf for when the new starter ever goes bad. So anyway, that's the latest update on that.
I was going to go over a few things. Susan, I'm actually caught up on my orders right now on the crocheting, but I know someone that's getting ready to place order for a bunch more of those hats. And I'm actually working on another hat just to have a standby. Just to, you know, kind of stay ahead. But I also have that skirt for Stacy I need to get started on too. And thanks to Juana for the compliment on my hair. I appreciate that. I think I've said before, my hair used to be a lot longer, like down to here. And I lost, you wouldn't have known it, but I lost a lot of my hair a couple of years ago. It's still, thankfully I have lots of hair and it's very curly and very thick. But when that happened, my hair got shorter and shorter, and I like my hair long. And so it was really kind of a blow to my pride, I guess. But I've gotten used to it short. To me, this is short. Because I used to always wear my hair really long. And it was really hard for me to get used to that. But now it's okay. It's actually starting to get longer again. So, hi Maria. And we had some questions about our fireplace from the little chat that we had yesterday, or well, we put it up yesterday. We didn't do that ourselves, but it was basically remade. It was just a regular fireplace at one time, and when we got the place, it had a
heatilator in it.
Yeah, an insert.
Yeah.
Which isn't really the most efficient. And when I really wanted to get to where I could start cooking on stuff and, you know, on a wood stove and all that, and being that the insert wasn't super efficient heat wise, we kind of came up with this idea to take that and change, you know, cut out that fireplace and change it up, and then put a freestanding wood stove in there. And so he pretty much had the design, and then had a mason guy,
a chimney guy,
a chimney dude,
and he did all.
He did a great job. Yeah. And then at the base, he actually made us a little half round of brick, because there was nothing to catch the coals and stuff if they follow the fire, and he just did a beautiful job, and I really like it. It works really good for cooking and baking. I mean that. The curvature of it makes it kind of hard for putting big pots back very far, but I can stick, tall pots, but I can stick a lot of stuff on that wood stove.
We don't have a huge living room, so the design there was to have
Susan.
Get the biggest stove we could get and still be able to cook on it.
My hair used to be that long.
It's a quadrifire. The chimney guy, he said, how big of a spot do you have to put that in? And I told him, and he says, well, I got this stove here, and he says, but this one here, this other particular stove is a smaller stove, will fit in there too, and it might look better. I says, well, I want the biggest one I can put in there. So basically, there's about 2 inches of clearance, and an inch on each side of the stove, and Heidi just loves it because she's got a big flat cooking area that she can cook on. We can heat things on, dehydrate. The way we have that set up is that the stove sets out away from the brickwork, maybe a quarter of the way out onto the hearth. So we still maximize the space that we have in our living room, and we also maximize our cooking area, and we also maximize the amount of heat that we can get out of it by putting the alcove in there. If you guys look at our last chat,
yeah, you can even see some of my laundry. I thought I had it all out of the camera, but you can still see some of my laundry hanging because I have 2 clotheslines. There's you know, we never did get rid of the tiled mirror thing, you know, that was big in the 70s, because it does help make the living room a little bigger because our living room's tiny. But you can see our clotheslines in the clothespins hanging up there in the video, and I didn't really want that in there because I wanted it to look cleaner. But I don't care that people see it because that's what we do. I've got laundry hanging all along there right now, but we didn't have much laundry that day, so I pushed it way off to the side so it wouldn't be in the video, and it's still off to one side. You could see it, but whatever. But it's great. I mean, I have 2 clotheslines hanging across there, and I can dry a lot of clothes right there. So
Urban Girl had a question. She asked,
Maria?
how does the chicken tea taste? And that was a question I had for you.
Yeah.
I know what chicken tea is. The plants love it. But I want to ask you how chicken tea tastes.
Everybody was giving you such a hard time, but that was hilarious. So I couldn't sit there and type the whole time. I was running around doing chores, and
we didn't get a thing done that day.
He's had the whole last week off, so he's just, he had time to sit there and goof off. Little poop. But poor Maria, I'll give her such a hard time. Okay, so there's more questions. We only have a couple more minutes, and then Big Family Homestead with their Tech Talk is on right after us. So I'm going to try to answer another question. See, the wood stove, we actually have over 2,400 square feet when you count the old dance room dojang, which is just on the other side of this wall here where our wood stove is. Now Pat installed some fans, and sometimes we can turn on the fans, which still uses electricity, and blow heat into that room, but that room gets really cold, and I've actually been running some electric heat in there just to keep it from getting, just enough to keep it from getting moldy in there, because we've been having problems with mold if we don't keep enough heat blowing through there. I think fans blowing would probably be good enough, but we can close off. We have a pocket door between the kitchen and that side of the house, and we can close that side of the house off and just heat this side of the house just fine with our wood stove. This 1,200 square feet, but it's kind of hard to heat the other 1,200 square feet with it too. So anyway, we should probably finish up because I know there's the delay.
If we missed any questions on here, I apologize. I get about maybe 5% of what goes on in the chat. Some things I catch, some things I don't. We didn't forget you on purpose, that's for sure. But if you've got any more questions, you can.
Yeah, I've tried.
You can leave it to us in a chat.
It helps.
Or not in a chat, but to our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And we'll
we
try
have
to get
Facebook
to you, or on the next chat, we'll try to clear.
Or even in an email at our raincountryhomestead@gmail.com, or you can go to Facebook, Rain Country Homestead. So anyway, thanks all for joining us, and maybe I'll try to look over the chat if I don't close it and forget, and see if there was any good questions that we could probably approach next week when we come back. So anyway, everyone, thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.
Bye-bye.
Okay, how do I stop?